Small talk, she about to fill some big shoes, touch a big bag. Come on, Tiny, this a big move. Can't spell Tiny without the NY. We run the city, bitch, yeah, you know the vibes. Small talk, baby, pull up with the guys. Yeah, I had to say it twice, yeah, you know she never lie, whoa.
Hey guys, welcome to Small Talk Podcast with Tiny, and I'm here with educator, mentor, life coach, podcaster, founder of Slice of Excellence, the Conversations with Zoe podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, man.
I'm very excited.
Small Talk Podcast, but we talk heavy, you heard?
Big topics. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to have you here. So I'm very honored. And I do want to give you your flowers because I've been following your podcast for a while, and just to see how you've grown, it's just very inspirational. You're a Bronx native, just like me, which is big for me because big Bronx in the house. Right. I'm big about that. So how does it feel? I see you taking off. How do you feel? I usually like to start with check-ins. So
right. It's surreal. It's such a good feeling. Just seeing, you're great, but having the world recognize your greatness is such a great feeling. And it's been a journey. I didn't start it for any of this, so I'm getting used to all of this. It may look kind of effortless, whatever, but now I'm have to schedule things like this. It's not just me doing interviews. Yeah. It's now people are learning who I am, seeing my journey, paying attention. It's I want to interview this guy. So it's beautiful. I'm happy to be here. S.O. Heston, when I say that, shout out to Bagview. I was on their podcast earlier, but
oh wow,
it's amazing, and it feels good.
Yeah, it's dope. And I love what you stand for. Just how you're real community based. Right. I love how you don't gatekeep. Right. I love how you just spread and try to inspire everyone. People don't know we this is the first time we're actually meeting, but right. I actually came in contact with you because you created that group chat random.
Right. Right. Shout out to the chat, man. We working in there,
yeah.
And that's what it's about. I want to create community. I don't see anyone as competition. I just want to collaborate and build with everybody. Anybody that I can help, I will. Mm-hmm. And even little small pointers, this is a very lonely game. You know what I'm saying? You doing your thing, you releasing your content. You have your fans and everybody, but you don't really have nobody to bounce ideas off or right. talk about it. And I just wanted to create that space, so I did.
Right. So I know, for me, why it stood out, I was very fearful. I think that happens with a lot of people, right? We're fearful to put content out there because you're right. scared of what people might think, or I'm just a little girl from the Bronx, nobody really paying attention. I'm not
right.
gonna make a big difference. So
right.
just you being you and doing that inspires and makes people. For me, I can say made me feel more comfortable. So through your journey, I'm sure you had those moments of doubt or fear. So how did you overcome that?
I think what made me overcome that is that my worst experience. Some of my worst experiences were with my own family. So I ain't I didn't give a fuck about much after that. You know what I'm saying? There was really nothing you could tell me. And then, not saying I am the most successful person, one of the most successful people in my family. You feel me? Yeah. It's nobody was doing what I was doing, so you can't really speak on it. Mm-hmm. And everything they was telling me was based off fear and doubt and just a small-minded level of thinking. So I'm that don't even make sense to me. I'm going to just do me. And doing me and betting on myself has got me this far. And most of the things that I've done, most of my family hasn't. I'm one of the first graduates, from my first generation family, right? From my immediate family. I went to boarding school. None of my family went to boarding school. So I can't bounce no ideas of how that experience was. I left the house 16, pretty much. I lived in Europe. None of my family could tell me they did that. Wow. So I've just been rolling with it. And conversation with Zoe was just me keeping the same energy with myself.
Wow. So I'm sure you're from the South Bronx.
Right. Shout out to Brook Ave.
Oh, Brook Ave. Okay. So I'm from Uptown. I'm not from the South Bronx, but I just been recently moved to the South Bronx during the pandemic. So 3-4 years. So it's definitely a difference. Right. I've noticed. And I know in the South Bronx, I'm like, this is the trenches for real. Like,
Right,
you know,
right,
it's
right.
like, I'm like seeing like gun violence like crazy, gang
Right.
activity, which like not saying I didn't see those stuff when I lived uptown, but it was more in my face moving to the South Bronx.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I noticed how hard like opportunities were for, you know, people to try to make it out, to try to go to boarding school, to try to, so like, how has like being from the South Bronx like shaped you, and how did that motivate you, and how did you like beat those odds of not being that kid that was in the gang or gun violence or those kind of things, fall into that trap, I feel like.
Well, I think one of the first things I did was I stopped hanging around people that made me uncomfortable. So if it happened, I went through a little stretch from like 11 to 13 of little dumb shit happening to me. But that was because of who I was around. Like, it wasn't even like I was best friends with the person. We just live in the same neighborhood. We know each other. So we friends. I'm not gonna say we're not best friends, but we friends. We know each other. Been to each other's house, sleepovers and all of that. But somehow I learned early that you're gonna inherit other people's problems. So that was like a big like, nah, I can't be walking with you to the store and somebody pop on me for being off the strength of you, like, or somebody notice me, and it would happen when I'm by myself. Oh, you know X, Y, and Z, and so I was like, nah, this ain't it. So I just started distancing myself from people at a young age that weren't on the same frequency as me. So I like baseball. You like baseball, cool. But you like the streets and I don't. That was it for me. I'm gonna see you when I see you. We're gonna hang out on our block, but I'm not gonna walk you nowhere. I'm gonna hang out with you outside of this block or none of that. So I just set boundaries. I didn't even know it was boundaries, but I set them young because I didn't like things. I'm not an aggressive person, but the Bronx taught me to be aggressive. Like, sometimes you gotta meet aggression with aggression,
Right.
because you have no choice. And sometimes you can run, and sometimes you gotta take a beating, or maybe you have a chance to defend yourself.
Right.
So the Bronx taught me a lot, and I wouldn't change it for anything, because it taught me how to be on point. And even in this corporate world, you're going to see funny things happen.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see people move funny and do different things, but because you've seen that in different environments, it doesn't really faze me as much, because I've seen that character at one point in my life. Yeah. And what set me apart from everything was I fell in love with school at a young age. Shout out to Mrs. Cobb, my second grade teacher. I still talk to her to this day.
Wow.
She told me I was brilliant, and nobody had ever told me that in my life.
In second grade?
In second grade, she told me I was brilliant. And I actually wrote an article when I was in second grade. I wrote a story about a butterfly that made the newspaper. And that was her doing. Like, yo, you can really write. Like, you should do something. Like, do this for me. And I just did it for her, not knowing she was going to go do that. But it got published. My mom has the newspaper and all of that. So that level of just confidence she instilled in me did the most for me. Right. And I just kind of I just stood on the sidewalks. Like, that was the biggest thing I did. I just stood on the sidewalk. I got brothers in gangs. My older brothers are both in gangs. So I saw that young. And they 10 years older than me. So think about it. I'm 6, they 16. You could see it clear as day what's going on because of that age gap.
Yeah. Breaking those like generational curses is, and that's tough, especially like at that young of an age. And it's like, I feel like even growing up like in the Bronx, and like, you know, we don't have like good representation of like family for the most part, or like you know, doing things the right way, or the lack of opportunities. That's why I think it's really dope, like the Slice of Excellence that you created. What made you even start doing that?
Yo, shout out to Slice of Excellence. That's my baby. I got the logo tatted right here.
That's dope. Well, first explain, because I know everyone doesn't know what, like,
Slice
I'm going to explain
it. Slice of Excellence, we existed since 2020. We trade report cards for pizza. We host pizza parties every month throughout the academic calendar school year throughout New York City. Now primarily the Bronx. I started that. I was working at Success Academy as a second grade teacher, and I'm not going to give them no promo, but that's where it happened, right? So I'm teaching. We on Zoom.
Yeah.
My class is struggling, you know, and that was just my principal was like, I know you're a first year teacher, but you got to figure it out. And that was my way of figuring it out. I'm like, listen, bro, whoever get the highest test score on Friday, get pizza to the crib. And it happened. I posted the picture in the chat. Boom, blew up. And now I'm sending pizza to different classes, different people hitting me up. And now that I mention that, y'all teachers, y'all some bum-ass niggas too for that, right? Because y'all got money too, and y'all reaching out to me to buy your kids pizza.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Well, you could have did it yourself, but it's okay.
I was just about to say that.
It's okay. We young, we figuring it out. That's the first time I thought of that too.
I was literally just about to say that. I'm like...
But it's cool. It's cool. Everybody was happy. Y'all could have did it yourself. Hopefully, y'all still doing it.
Yeah.
But you can't really just give kids anything because, that's outside the guidelines. And, I'm teaching kids that live in the hood, Wash Projects and all that area on the other side. So all you see is, the yellow bag, blue bag, orange bag, red bag, ramen every day, switching up flavors, taking out the water, putting butter, trying to change it somehow.
Right.
But so I was like, I'm going to just incentivize it, the reward. And I'm going to send them the pizza. And so it was COVID. So I was sending pizza to your crib. Like, I would call your parents, a positive phone call home. So that's great. Because everybody was like either dodging my calls or like, is it urgent? Like, they would text me back. I said, I think it is urgent, but in a good way.
Right.
And they called me back and said, hey, Timothy has scored the highest on this test score, and I would love to send him pizza. Oh my God. And just let me know a time and date. And that would usually be like Friday night, whatever. And then it wasn't until my mentor was like, yo, you like feeding families? I didn't even think of that. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm sending 2 boxes of pizza to the crib. Right. So now you breaking bread with your siblings and your parents. One mom was like, yo, I got 5 kids. I said, so? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to send more. And that's all it was. I never hesitated. I just sent more. And now, we got our 501c3. We got our paperwork, our tax exemption. We get corporate funding. Shout out to Snipes and everybody that helps out.
Yeah.
And all my friends and family, Atik Lucas, all my friends that work in corporate, that they give me the corporate giving. Nick DeRubio, everybody, it's all love. I appreciate y'all.
Wow. So you're still doing that, but primarily you said the Bronx. But
yeah, so what happened was I spread myself too far, right? So then when it came to funding, all the zip codes were all spread out. Like when I put everything together on a spreadsheet, I had a lot, but it was like everywhere. So then when I noticed that this year, when I really zeroed in on the Bronx, we killed it this year. Like over 30, 40 schools in the Bronx. And then when you take the zip codes from those schools, I cover almost the whole Bronx.
Wow.
So that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to focus on one area, target one area.
Right.
Schools need over 80% attendance to, principals could get fired for all of that. So I've taken schools over that 80% mark.
Wow.
And I'm not saying it was all me, but you could see we were at 64, now we're at 84, so 20% growth.
Just from that incentive, which is dope. And then the kids is going to school.
They going to school.
And you're making a difference.
Right. And you seeing like, damn, look at Tiny going to a different lunch period. Like, where's Tiny going?
Right.
She got perfect attendance.
Yeah.
Kids are going to catch on.
Yeah. It's like positive reinforcement.
It's positive reinforcement. And there goes Tiny again. Going I gotta come to school.
Rewarded instead of punishing. Right. So trying to break that with the kids.
It started with the report cards, and I wasn't going to hit everybody there.
Yeah.
So then I opened it up to the perfect attendance, and now we serving a lot more kids.
And that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. I like that. So as like that took off, similar to like with your podcast. At what point did you see? Because I've been watching you grow. I think when I first started following your page, you were probably like close to 10K or 10K, and now I see you like taking off and growing.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that happened in like June. No. We just missed June. So it's like maybe May is June-ish. I was in softball season, so I had 13, I went to sleep with 10K and woke up with 23.
I remember
that. That shit happened overnight. Like,
I remember in the chat.
It was the craziest thing. I was like, yo, like, it was crazy. Like, and even when I went to sleep at like 13, so I got 10,000 overnight. But even like, when I went from 10,000 to 13,000, from like March to like early June, it was like 100, 150 followers a day. Like craziest thing. And for those who know me, just DM me. Stop playing with this whole, you ain't following me back. You got my number. What are we talking about? Like, you know where I live. Like,
but I think you're pretty responsive. Anytime I've ever hit you, you always responded.
That's what I'm saying. Reach out. Like, the people saying this and doing these antics are the people that are not reaching out. So, it's been a tremendous growth. Everything that's been going on, everything that's been happening. And just been learning as I go, you know, still active in the chat, still trying to motivate you guys motivate me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's
definitely feed off the energies.
Yeah.
How was it? Like, who was the first celebrity or like known person that you got as a guest on your podcast?
Shout out to my guy, Larry Hamel, man. So he's formerly known as Overtime Larry, but he's Larry Hamel. He's my Little League teammate. We played against each other in high school. We played with each other in college. He helped blow up the overtime basketball world, which is like the ESPN for like high school. It's like where you find out like the ball, like the Melo Ball, Zion, like any like lit NBA player now, they probably were like getting highlights and exposure from them. So he left, but you know, he had a blue check, 300,000 followers. So like that was like my first big look.
Yeah.
You know, and that came with a relationship that I had, you know, through the baseball world, you know. So shout out to him, because after him, it opened up all the doors.
Yeah.
It was shout out to Little Italy, Leaky Bands. He's from the Lower East Side. He's a rapper. Ray Loves You. Ray Loves You is an R&B singer. For me, he's like the Spanish The Weeknd, because he sound like him a little bit, but he also sing in Spanish. So he's from the Lower East Side, lives in the Bronx now. He has ties. He's on tour with Juicy J now.
Okay.
For me, so we all like we're just moving, and now we just growing together. But, you know, shout out to Vodka Rondon. He was the guy that almost signed Pop Smoke. That's how I got my first Pop Smoke story on the podcast. Shout out to my Uncle Jay, too. He made that happen for me.
Yeah.
And then we just been going ever since then.
Yeah.
Around that time, I dibbled and dabbled with the OnlyFans episode. And that kind of like, it was scary for a lot of people, not for me, because I knew what I was going in there to do. Like, it was just to show them as human beings and as women, you know, not to objectify them and be like, oh, y'all suck or whatever. Nah, like that's corny, that's salacious, and that's not tasteful. I just wanted to see them as mothers, as people, or whatever they entrepreneurs. Damn, what's her name? Erica Blaze, she got her own cannabis company out of Boston. Like, they all bossed up. And that's what I saw.
How you did that was dope, though. Definitely.
Yeah, you know, so that's what I wanted to show. I wasn't trying to, whatever they do is what they do. OnlyFans, we know that. But what they display on Instagram, there's more than that.
Right.
Feel me? If you're willing to dig deeper. And that's what I be trying to do. I was just trying to clear up the misconceptions.
I was going to ask you that because I feel like it's a constant struggle, right? Sometimes, because when you think about like, all right, you're building a platform, right? And there's like topics and things that are clickbait, right? Like people want to talk about the raunchy stuff. They're like, oh, OnlyFans, I'm gonna click that and see if they talking, you know, but your message is deeper than that. So it's like, I know for me, like I struggle back and forth with like I want to talk about mental health and I want to talk about, people don't want to hear about this. Like, how do I make it clickable but still staying true to, you know, my message? Like, how do you incorporate that? How did you, you know, manage like your creative process behind it?
I think you got to focus on your intentions. Like, I feel like no matter what, like, think about it, right? This is extreme, but if you think about how people go to jail for attempt murder, like, you didn't kill a person, but you attempted. So that's your intent. You had intention to do something, do harm to somebody, right? So with this creative podcast thing, I just focus on my intentions and what I'm trying to display, right? So you gotta play both sides of the fence, but not too close. So with the OnlyFans, with the group of girls, with the city boys and the city girls, all of that is fun to me. And that's actually part of my, I used to be a very mixy person, right? But being mixy, sometimes it gets you in a lot of trouble because, you know, you telling people business or you always kind of, you know, so I've like, you know what, the podcast is the place where I'm going to be mixy, but I'm not, you call me with some shit, I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm not telling nobody just because some people, you know, it's like I tell you a story, you tell me, I tell him, and it may be a different story by the time it reaches him. You know, even though that wasn't my intent, you know, but I learned to leave things alone. So for me, you gotta play the game. You feel me? Because even though my message hasn't changed, we still doing what we doing, but you gotta give the people some of what they want.
Exactly.
Feel me? So I'm gonna always educate first, entertain second.
I like that. So especially like when you're dealing with celebrities, like, you know, A-list celebrities and things like that, because, you know, when they go on podcasts and radio shows, people want to know like the beef, and that can get dangerous, right? That can get dangerous.
I got you with that one. So check me out. I'm a civilian,
right?
So one, I'm not gonna put nobody against each other. because that's not cool, right? I'm not here. Y'all have enough of that, right? There's enough platform, enough places where they're gonna do that, right? And I don't have to partake in it because I'm already in a lot of rooms, and I didn't do that to get there. I didn't do anything salacious, slight anybody, do clickbait to get there. So why start now? For me, I don't have no reason to indulge because there's no point.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't start with the beef and the drill music and whatever it is. Even with the drill artists, I'm supposed to interview Murder B. We're gonna have I'm gonna take us to a whole different space. We're gonna indulge in certain things, but I'm not bringing up this side, that side, down the block, whatever. There's no point because that's negative. And I never want somebody to run up on me thinking like, yo, you said X, Y, and Z about this person. So thank God I'm from the Bronx because I know that there's a high possibility that could happen.
Yep.
Knowing that somebody may feel that way. And it may not be that person. It may be a fan or a person affiliated or a family member or somebody that's just trying to prove themselves to that person.
Exactly.
So all of those different levels of it can happen, I've already crossed that bridge by myself.
How do you feel about the whole like drill Bronx movement? Like,
I'm cool with it. You know, it's expressive. I like the dance. I like the camaraderie. I feel like it's a form of therapy for the kids.
Yeah.
Or for the young adults that are making that style of music. I just feel that when you're not, so that ties into the hood mentality, right? And that's what I broke away from at a early age, and a lot of the people I associate with myself broke away from because. Shout out to Graf. I'm gonna say this again. He said, "Niggas be trying to make their big homie more proud than their own mother, right?" So like,
that's deep. That's true.
That is part of it, right? You have a person giving you information that maybe isn't transferable. I can't go to Chase Bank and say, "Hey, me and Tiny want to open up a business, and she's a real bitch and I'm a real nigga." They gonna look at us like, "What? Like, what do you?
Like, what do you say?
All right, what's your credit score? What's that? Oh, go on Experian. What's that? I got an Explorer, a truck, Experian. What's that? Like, it's not transferable. Right. And when you get to explore life and get exposed to life outside of that, you notice that none of that shit means nothing. Whether you a gangster, your knuckle game is on point, all of that, nothing. Yeah. You know, and if you look at the block, most of those dudes in their 40s living with their mother. Eating crab legs for breakfast. That's he bought off the ABT card. Like, that's not life, bro. That you never really live by yourself. Or I got people from my block that went to jail when I was 10, came home when I was 20. Like, I've seen it. One of my mans, free my son Jelly. Jelly just got 5 and Bunny just came out from doing 5. That's the system. That's the cycle. Right. So even as a sidewalk dude, I've seen it. Right. I've visited my older brother in Rikers before.
Yeah,
I've seen all of that. I've seen levels of all of that happen. So with the drill thing, it's just all about, you know, if you're going to use it to make money, then let it be about business.
Yeah.
Right? Keep it about that, you know, and anything outside of that, if it's not about money and business and elevating yourself, and, you know, if you get out, stay out. You know what I'm saying? Or pick it. I'm in the hood here and there. I was in my hood the other day. Yeah. But you got to be selective. And you got to be okay with being selective because you don't belong in every situation. And every function is not for you.
That's right. I think that it's hard, though, when you think about, like, who are the drill artists, right? It's young kids, right? And they're, like we said, they're in the environment, right? Like, just me as a grown person living in the South Bronx and seeing this. Like, I lived right on the block where, like, K-Flock and all of them, Doogie B, all of them lived at. And it's like, that shit is in their face every day, all day. That hood mentality, this is all I know, right? Shit is not good at home. I don't have a Zoe in school helping me with, you know, it's like, I'm on survival mode. What? This little rap beef I'm doing is helping me get out the hood. So it's like, you know, we don't have enough of those mentors to like tell them, you know, when I get out to stay out. All of these rappers you see, I can see why people don't like the idea of drill rap because half of them is ending up dead or in jail before they even really make it out. Right. Because there's nobody guiding them. Right.
But part of that is if you go to school, you have an opportunity. So we all went to school. What did you do when you was in there? Yeah. Right? My mother never called herself a bad bitch in her life. So parents ain't parenting. That's right? True. And I can tell you this, when I was teaching, a kid ain't turning homework in like 6 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mom Dukes was about to tear his ass up. I was like, listen, before you do that, I just want to ask you a question. Did you check?
Mm-hmm.
No, he told me he did it. Okay. I need some accountability, Mom Dukes.
Right.
You ain't check. So he was rolling the dice every day, but there was never no pressure until this day
Right.
that you didn't know because you didn't check. So whatever you doing, and mind you, that mother didn't really work like that. So what was you doing all day?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you look at all the parents, even, I'm not even gonna say his name, he's on the radio, he was complaining about doing homework with his kids. All right, you busy and all that, you're the breadwinner, you out there doing what you gotta do, but parents saw like, oh, wow, like this is what teachers go through.
Yeah.
Trying to teach my child. And I gotta brush up on, like, I mean, for the parents that kids are in middle school and higher, I mean, you gotta brush up on that math.
Yeah, that's just, it's crazy.
Right? So,
yeah.
you know, so that's, parents have to hold themselves accountable because I spoke about this the other day. Many times your confidence is broken at home and then the streets have their way with you. So if your parents ain't leveling up and educating themselves and trying to find a better way, education don't mean school. Education means you go pick up a book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen to different podcasts. Expose yourself to different things so you could be better for your children. So we can't just blame the streets and the schools when what's going on at home, right? A confident child is built at home, but a broken child is broken at home. So if your kid, right, you may have a brilliant kid that's inside, loves robotic, you know, is intelligent, right? But because you as a parent couldn't see their greatness and what they love, look up robotics, see what it is, and find out about it. You broke them. And now you got a demon that's outside. Like,
You want to blame everyone else, right?
My cousin, and this is true too, right? I've seen this as a teacher, and my cousin is an engineer. He just got into NYU for engineering. Shout out to my cousin Snowflake. I love you, my boy. He built a robotic arm.
What?
A mechanical arm, right? And cool. He went to Texas to intern at a gas station and do engineering and shit for them. And the guy he's brilliant. But for immigrant women in my family, he's weird. But he's just smarter than you. That's the thing. He talking about shit you can't comprehend.
Right.
Right? You don't know nothing. You don't know the first thing about engineering. But for me, I'm like, yo, I think it's brilliant. He built my website, Precise Excellence.
Oh, wow.
He helped me build most of the stuff I got going on, that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I love that man. He's brilliant. He's going to be a very, very rich man. And he ain't had to do it the way they did it. But they don't respect his brilliance because they don't understand that he's just into different things.
Right.
Right? And had he not chose to elevate and go away to school and build himself up, that he would have been another broken statistic.
Wow. Yeah, but it's true because it starts in the home. And then we were talking about this, I think, when we first were speaking, just about like therapy and mental health and all these things. Those were not conversations in my household growing up, right? Growing up in a Caribbean household or Hispanic household, whatever, you know, it's like those are things that it's work, go to school, you know, I'm feeding you, you got a roof over your head, I take care of you. But there's no like conversations about depression or about anxiety or all of these things. And kids go through that, you know, and it shows up at school. So your kids acting up, you know, I worked in foster care. So I used to work with kids and I used to see it all the time. Like I'd get the phone call because I'm technically the parent, right? Because the parents aren't there. So it's like, so-and-so acting up at school. He's throwing chairs. He's doing this. And nobody's getting to the root of why. What's going on with him? What's going on at home? You know, this kid has been abused or been abandoned. And nobody really does that check-in in the home. So, like, I know you're a father.
Right.
How do you, with parenting and juggling all of these things and, you know, making a difference, how do you incorporate that? And how are you trying to break those generational curses?
Well, I know for me, a lot of it is just trying to be as present as possible. And I know sometimes my phone is like nonstop. Like there's so much opportunity coming in that it's hard to put it down. And it's hard, you know, to try not to miss an opportunity. But, you know, I get a car ride with him every day. You know, pick him up from school every day. So that's a moment that we have. I would say if I record once, I had dinner with him probably 5 or 6 nights out of the week. You know, so that's something that wasn't normal for my upbringing. Even something that happened this week. Shout out to Zoe G, my niece. She just turned 7. We went out to dinner on Thursday night. We would never do that. Like invite people and meet up on a Wednesday. Like first of all, your birthday's Thursday. I see you Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
we're not fuck that all that day up shit.
Yeah.
It's clip for that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We're not showing up to your school with no balloons, none of that. We're gonna celebrate, but we're gonna celebrate on the weekend.
Right.
So just it's crazy. Me and my sister, it was like we were thinking it. It was like, yo, we've never done this in our lives.
Wow.
You know, so the beautiful thing about it is being more financially literate and financially free and not so tied to finances too much, but also just being more present, like being like, yo, it is your birthday, like fuck it, like I call out tomorrow, like I use a sick day if I have to, like we're gonna celebrate today because today is your moment. So it's just trying to be more in tune, you know, and trying to be the best man and father that I can be to my son Hendrix, and he deserves that, and I know he deserves that, and because I love what I do for work, I'm not as stressed out as my parents was. Like they were kind of just making ends meet, and I love them for that. But they also made bad investments. You know, they spent their money poorly. You know, and they didn't utilize. They didn't have good debt. They had all bad debt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So learning from their mistakes and trying to be better.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, financial literacy. Like I seen you had the master.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Ian Dunlap. That's my man's now
I love
too.
him.
That's my man's too. Like
I be following because I just started like maybe during the pandemic is when I started learning about stocks and like Robinhood and Acorns and all that stuff. So I didn't have any idea about that stuff. He was one of the first people I started learning from. So I saw you had him on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good
dope.
brother, man. And he a man of his word too, because we were supposed to, we locked in on social media, and he started following me, and we spoke a couple times. He had canceled on me the first time he was in New York. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, whenever you spin back, just hit me. And he hit me like, yo, I'm in New York. Like, let's make it happen.
Oh,
like,
that's dope.
I'm in New York, and I got to do your show. And I'm like, what? Like, I was almost stuck on the fact that he said that.
Yeah.
And we had a great interview. Probably, honestly, bro, it could have did. It's still doing. The numbers are still growing, but that's probably one of the best interviews he's had.
Wow.
For sure. Because I've seen a lot of them, and people that interviewers have a lot of ego and pride. So somehow, some way, they want to spin it and include themselves. And it's like, bro, it's not about you right now. It's about him. Highlight him. Even when I asked him that question, who his top 5 invested, like if he can make an investment team, who would he put on it? And that's the spin on in the hood, we always talk about top 5 rappers or top 5 basketball players. That's irrelevant talking to a man that's the master investor. Why would I ask him who the fuck the top NBA players are or the top 5 rappers? That's irrelevant. I have to feed into his world and make questions that cater to his world. And that's what made the most sense. That's how I thought about that question.
Oh, that was dope. See,
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I'm picking up when I was watching all your content, I was picking up how you're very detailed in certain questions that you asked too. What are your favorite podcasts to listen to?
So I only listen to podcasts for entertainment. I don't listen to, I really love Eric Thomas.
Yes.
But I'm a Gemini.
It's more motivational.
So, yeah.
You're a Gemini?
Yeah. So I start to, but you see, you couldn't tell whatever it was, But
I love Gemini. So y'all crazy, but it's cool.
What happens is I start to kind of emulate them.
Yeah.
And pick up their voices and mannerisms and stuff like that. So if I was gonna really turn it up, I had to stop listening to those people because I started to repeat them. You know what I'm saying? So I had to find my own voice and my own way of doing this because I'm going to consume it every single day.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, I've been listening to Eric Thomas since I was in college. That video, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that's over 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I've been tapped in with Eric for years. And so I listen to Eric Thomas from here and there, just for motivation here and there. But I love $1 Million with the Game. It Is What It Is. Shout out to Cam and Mace. I like
I like their podcast.
I listen to Horrible Decisions here and there, just not that I'm feeling spicy, but they got a lot of great content, in what they doing. So shout out to Weezy and shout out to what's her name? Mandy. What else I listen to? Math Hoffa, of course, my expert opinion. I listen to Joe Budden a lot. I like his podcast, like his content. Rory and more. I mean, I didn't mean to put those two back to back, but you know,
Yeah.
we, like I said, I'm not putting nobody against each other because that has nothing to do with me. Those are their problems or whatever it may be. But I wish them the best.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of different podcasts and consumer. I listen to you. I tap into you guys.
Oh,
You know, you guys put your stuff out there. So
we're trying.
you know,
Yeah, definitely like the power of networking because, like I say, like I shouted you out on the last episode. Cause
right.
even though he didn't say this, I do feel like Smart. I
Yeah,
feel
shout
like
out to my guy Smart, man.
Yeah, shout out to Smart because that video is doing like the best out of all of my videos.
Right.
So
Nah, he's a sharp guy. He's a great guy, and damn, I'm blanking on his manager's name, but shout out to his management.
Yeah,
he has great management, great representation. That's how I got the interview. His camp reached out to me, and we made it happen. You know, I put together a great interview for him, and
yeah, it was definitely
it's doing
dope.
really well. You know, shout out to Smart. He's a great guy. I love what he stands for, and he's about elevation for the community. So I stand for the same thing.
Yeah, that was dope. So that was like the power, like I said, the power of networking. I feel like, because I know you posted my podcast a few times, which I appreciate. Thank you.
Always. Support is free.
And I remember like when you first posted it, a few artists and stuff was hitting me up. And I'm like, you know, I think like one of the issues I was having, I'm like, why do they want to come on my platform? It's so small, you know, like I was thinking like that, not thinking big. And like I said, just seeing how you move and seeing how you grew, it was like dope to see. I'm like, you know, maybe we need more confidence starting our podcast and networking and just the power of that. So I'm sure like when I put this out, other people are going to see and just like the power of networking. And like you said, that group chat you started is definitely could be way more powerful.
And if we really tap in with it and really like take it over, like we should be having, you know, 30 comments, 30 shares, all of that amongst us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? 30 likes on YouTube and 30 comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like if we all just really pull together, you feel me? So trust me, and no shade to the group chat, but I know who's coming with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know who's not. And it is what it is. You know?
That's dope. Who's someone that you want to manifest to have on your podcast, like your goal, someone you look up to that you want to have as a guest on your podcast?
Yeah, my number one is Chris Brown.
Really?
Hell
Chris Brown? I was not expecting that.
That's my nigga
Chris
right
Brown.
there. It's Breeze.
He's a legend.
That's my
he's
dog.
Definitely a legend.
I grew up like, so, all right, I'm gonna give you a few. I grew up on Breezy. Right? Breezy is probably a couple years older than me. Part of growing up in the hood. Shout out to my guy Pierre R&B. That's my heart, man. 780C, man. He's my next door neighbor. We loved R&B, right? And his mother was very, very strict, very religious. Shout out to Auntie Miss Tanya. And we used to like, you remember the old radio that it had like the little thing, like that's how you put the volume up? So we literally had like a nudge. She came in the room, like, what y'all listen? She ain't, like, you couldn't listen to it in the house. I got kicked out the crib and all that. And
why?
Mind you, we were standing right next to it. Like, it wasn't even that loud. She just thought that was music. Yeah. If it wasn't Kirk Franklin or one of them, Mary, you know, she wasn't jacking it. So, seeing how Chris Brown came in my young age, like I think I was in middle school when Yo came out. So R&B was always more my bop. Like hip hop was too aggressive. Like, I liked it, but I felt like I just connected with R&B more. Then I saw Usher. Usher's another one, right? You remember when they used to do like the show tours? Yeah. You would see him on like on Moesha. You see him on the Parkers and Sister. So like,
all those.
So that was like, when I saw Usher, I was like, yo, nah, this nigga smooth. Like, you know, when he came out, You Make Me Wanna, I was like, oh my God, it's the smoothest thing I've heard in my life. So, but on a baseball sense, CC Sabathia, one of my favorite pitchers. Bernie Williams is one of my favorite Yankees of all time. Now, I grew up in the South Bronx. They were winning as I was a kid, but it was also a way for me and my father to bond. Yeah. So, he's from Honduras. He liked soccer, but he caught on to baseball, and we would watch baseball together. And definitely like LeBron. Like I love LeBron. Like those would be like my five. Like Hov and all of that stuff is cool. That's gonna happen eventually, but. Like, those are guys that I see myself in. And that's what's, like, interviewing a lot of the celebrities now, like, I never really, like, I don't fan out because I always saw a little bit of myself in them somehow, whether it's the work ethic, the however they moving, I'm like, I could emulate that. I could take that and apply that. So everybody that I like and I'm a fan of, I see them as information or something that I can utilize, you know, so I always try to take the good or whatever I see is working or that's good, that's positive. I can incorporate that in how I'm moving.
What was the dopest or like the best interview you felt like you had with like someone that was known that you were like you walked away feeling like
Weezy. I bodied that interview.
Yeah.
That Weezy interview was so good. And the fact that she said it was one of her best interviews ever, she told me that to my face, and she said it on Horrible Decisions too.
Oh.
So she spun back and said it again. But just the intentions and the work that I put behind to make that special, I got a special message from all of her staff. I got Ian Dunlap to do. So you see,
Yeah.
Ian, I'm about to interview Weezy. So he sent, he's a voice note king. So he sent voice notes that I played for her.
Oh, that's dope.
And just the well-rounded conversation that we had, just because she said it like how she comes from a sex advocacy podcast. That's not what I do. I will talk about it, but that's not the main focus.
Right.
So why was I gonna talk to her about her favorite position and this, that, and the third? Like
Right.
that's what she does already. So she's a boss. She owns this studio.
I
like
know.
she has so much more to offer than she gonna give y'all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But trust me, she's a big dog, and there's so much more that she has going on than what she's talking about, whatever it is, which she's monetizing and making a lot of money off of. But I just wanted to show her as a black woman who's great in her field, in multiple fields as an entrepreneur, and that's how you should highlight her.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why she gave me all the energy that she gave me that day, because it was like, oh, we talking about my intelligence now, my IQ, my EQ, all that. Yeah. This is the one that he did his thing.
He's it. She feeding off of your energy and what you bring.
Yeah, that was a goodie.
Which is dope.
Yeah.
So, where do you see your what is your goal for your podcast and for everything, not just your podcast, because I know you do a lot. You know, so what all of your as an entrepreneur, what are your goals and where do you see things going like for the next 5 years? 5 years from now.
Right. So, Slice of Excellence on a national level. You know, so definitely, working with all the top councilmen and councilwomen in every borough. Y'all got to step up because a lot of y'all are lazy. I'm not gonna say no names. Y'all lazy. For me, y'all should be doing a lot more. Shout out to Edenwood houses. You know, y'all they should be getting a lot more love. I do a lot of work in Edenwood.
Yeah.
Edenwood. Shout out to MMC on 229th in Edenwood. Those are my family out there. So just growing that to a national level. $100 million fund, doing a lot of work, doing things more on a consistent basis, bigger budget, more haircuts, quarterly haircuts, sending barbers all over the city to give haircuts. So not just the beginning of the school year, before every holiday, have barbers there. You could sign your kid up, do things like that. We did a beautiful, we did 80 haircuts for graduation.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that was really cool that we put that together. So just to continue to do fly things. Shout out to Snipes, shout out to Up NYC for giving away the sneakers. They let me host events and they give away sneakers to the teachers and the kids and stuff like that. So just continue to having impact and bigger budgets and more impact and more community. And just bringing it together, like being more consistent, even more consistent. I'm very consistent, but even more.
I think you're very consistent.
And then with the podcast, I want the podcast to be like power. Like I want us to drop every week on a national network. Like so, whether we on ABC, NBC, or Stars, or Hulu, whatever. Like people are gonna tap in because the people that you're gonna see every Saturday night, Friday night, whoever it is gonna be like the top of the top, you know what I mean? So I feel like I could drop a podcast every week on a national platform, like Netflix or Hulu or Stars or HBO, all of them, because the content is there and I got a blueprint, you know what I mean? So I see myself doing something on that stage, on that level, like people tapping into a podcast every week. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to see Kevin Hart, Oprah, Chris Brown, athletes, LeBron, everybody who's anybody is going to be on that show.
Did you ever see your podcast get into this point that it's starting now, like 5 years ago when you first started?
No. Because I didn't start it for that. I think I sent you my first episode.
Yes.
It was like 2 minutes long.
I know.
And that was the point. I just want to spit positive words into my people. Like that was the whole point. Even 10 episodes later, 20, 30, 40, 50, I did not see any of this because I didn't start it. Like people have to give me, I'm asking for some, just give me a little grace because I'm just figuring I didn't start it for this. Everything, the production, all of this stuff, No. It was just like, yo, I just want to put this positive spin on the hood. Like the hood isn't this horrible place that everybody depicts it to be. Like today, you know, the basketball tournament in right there on West 4th, like why wasn't the news there? Like it's an all-girls tournament. The top girls in the city, top 100 girls in the city playing in the tournament, like 5 minutes from here.
Wow.
Feel me? So it also is what they're feeding us. You know what I'm saying? They feeding us the bullshit.
Yeah.
We could be giving out meals right here and it could be a fist fight across the street and they're going to catch that fist fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to keep shedding the light over here. Like they keep putting the light over here and I'm keep going like this. That's what I'm keep doing. Like pulling the light back. You know, so it's going to grow to that level, you know, and I see it. I feel it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm good with people. I'm good with cultivating relationships, and part of that is don't be the person with like sneaky intentions, right? This is the game for the people because everybody wants something from somebody in the industry, right? But be the person that you're gonna give to, right? Don't look to ride nobody's wave. Create your own wave, and y'all could be on surfboards together and ride waves together, but don't be the person that's not willing to invest in themselves, not willing to, you want to play the cut. Yo, Tiny, get on and pull me up. Like, nah, push Tiny.
Yeah.
And let Tiny know that you pushing her, and Tiny's going to build you up too.
Right.
But she's not going to pick you up when you ain't push her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just know at the top, there's collaboration. At the bottom, there's competition. So once you,
I love that.
So that's why the group chat and all that stuff makes sense to me because I'm not competing with none of y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. I see that as so much ladies pitch. Who hurt you,
Shout
bro?
out to them.
All of that. All of those
Gen
are different.
TV, all of
Everybody's
them,
doing different things. Feel me? So Gen TV, my dogs from CT, like, so why we not supporting that? Why we not pushing that? Like, there's no reason why I can't repost that. Fuck an algorithm. I show you I could break the algorithm.
Yeah.
I broke it. I'm in the algorithm. You can't deny me now. And it's all positive, nothing negative.
It's so true. You definitely, like, I see you support everyone, and I think that's really dope. And I think it also helps you grow and just say I think it's so hard for people to stay true to themselves once they get to a certain level too, because it's like you fall into like these industry traps, or you know, you're meeting so many different people.
Right.
So how do you keep yourself grounded?
I always been that nigga. Anybody who know me, yo, I always been in the loop. Like, that's why I'm not really, like, I've seen money. Like, I went to boarding school at 16. I went to houses that dead looked like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Wow.
Like sleeping in Greenwich, like going to the Hamptons, you know, wearing Nantucket red pants and shit, like Sperry's and all that, you know what I'm saying? So I've seen like generational wealth. I've seen like, oh, your father's a doctor or a dentist? Damn. Maybach, like, woof, like y'all living crazy over here. You know, so but I've also seen, right? I remember one Thanksgiving, I won't say his name, but he came to my crib for Thanksgiving. His parents were in Switzerland on Thanksgiving. He was by himself downtown, Central Park West.
Wow.
And here I am thinking like he got a better life than me. And here he is being like, fuck, I'm alone on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Wow.
So he took a yellow cab to my crib and he's like, I never experienced Thanksgiving like this. Your family, everybody happy. Like, it's not a ton of space, but it's mad space in here. Everybody's like, so you never know. So that opened up my eyes, and you never know what somebody going through. Even when you feel like monetarily and physically they have more than you. But I was rich in family. You know, so maybe I didn't have as much as him, and maybe I didn't go to Senegal on Christmas break. But, you know, I was rich in family. You know, I wasn't by myself. I wasn't with my butler or driver or whoever. I was actually around the people that I love. So for me, I've always been in the loop. I've always, I'm in a relationship now, but I've always gotten girls. I've always been fly. I've always been the center of attention, you could say, but in a good way. Like, I was a party promoter in college. I was selling nutcrackers in college. I was an athlete. So I was
mixy, you said.
Yeah, I was always mixy.
Always mixy.
I was always, you know, mixing things up, you know, shaking things up. People, and that's why promoting parties was easy, because everybody knew wherever Zogo is gonna be lit.
Yeah.
You know, he gonna make it lit. So yeah, let's go pay this couple dollars to go party with him. And it was easy, you know what I'm saying? And that same DJ that I used to promote with is 50 Cent DJ now.
Look at that.
So that's how we're gonna make that Branson thing happen.
Wow.
Feel me?
And everybody at the top.
Facts. Everybody. Continue. Do your part.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay that you there. Yo, I got your number. When I'm gonna use that number, I know when I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
But get there. right? It's not about, yo, DJ and shout out to DJ and Resto, shout out to all my peoples in CT. It's not about, well, he got to get there and pull me. Like, yo, get there. So he could be like, yo, look at my son a floor down. I know we on the 5th, he's on the floor. Like, I only got to pull him one floor. I don't have to pull him all 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so people got to be fair, be rational. Like, do your part.
You got to put the work in.
Put the work in.
You got to put the work in.
For sure.
And then build relationships, like you said. How do you stay, because I feel like when I do speak with you, and even being like your presence, very positive,
right.
I say all the time. How do you, when the moments that you're not positive, everybody has those like down moments, or it's
right.
like, you know, I'm feeling like a failure in some form, or, you know, things didn't go out how I planned. How do you self-motivate? How do you stay with that positive energy?
I've experienced a lot of death in my life. I lost a lot of friends, lost my pops. I went to like 10 funerals this year. Oh. Like, I haven't been to one in a while, thank God, you know, but from January to May, every other week.
Oh my God.
Every other week. My man's mom, shout out to Miss Stephanie, who passed away. Shout out to my son, 303 Saints, who passed away. You know, young guy. I got 2 episodes with him. That, you know, so I'm happy that his family get to see him, you know, alive and moving and talking and laughing, you know what I'm saying? So that's the other beautiful thing about this podcast. Like, it's a body of work that somebody may use to reminisce someday. You know what I'm saying? So I see all his friends watching the podcast. Randomly, here and there, they'll tag me, whatever, or I'll see them posting in their story. So for me, is knowing my why. Like, my son is only 3, you feel me? Like, my father died, left me nothing. For me, so that's the battery in my back. You know, my mother's is up and down with cancer. You know what I'm saying? So I've experienced all those things throughout my life. So for me, I know that with a positive attitude, a right mindset, work ethic, applying myself, continuing to educate myself, and being a man of high character. Yeah, that's how I got to boarding school. How do I meet somebody at 15 that say, "Yo, I want to help you go to boarding school"?
Right.
That's personable. A guy of high character. He told me to be somewhere. I was there 15 minutes before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was there on time. He told me to be here. Yo, do this. Yo, come meet these people and talk about your experience. I did it. You know what I mean? And I was on time. So people are gonna want to help you. Yeah. But you gotta do your part as well. Yeah. So I can't have somebody give me their time and be late. You know? Yeah. That's a turnoff right there. You know? So I always was respectful. Yeah. And I always was a man of high character and trying to well-mannered. Shout out to my mother. She did a great job with us in teaching us manners and respect, presentation, always put yourself together, you know, look presentable, you know what I'm saying? And take care of yourself. So shout out to Mom Duke. She was very, very big on that. And I carry those same principles. So I think like people become adults and forget like all those principles don't apply. Yeah. It still applies. It still applies to this day because those like that's how people are gonna treat you. The game is gonna treat you how you treat it. So if you don't respect it, you don't respect other people's times. You know, I've had guests hour late. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Yeah. But, you know, took it off the chin. It's still an opportunity. But you're going to get to a point where I'll be like, you know what? You may never get the opportunity again. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I'm still young. I'm still growing. Yeah. But, you know, so it's like, okay, it's fine. But there's going to be a point where it's like, that's it. Yeah. I'm not going to spin back. And I'm not going to wait. Yeah, that makes sense. How do you feel? You know, like, my niche is more like talking about like mental health and therapy. Right. I know that's a little bit in your lane as well. Right. How do you feel about like traditional therapy and like mental health talk? Therapy is gangster. I got an episode that says it. I did an episode. Therapy saved my life. Counseling saved my life. Like so this is good. You just took me back. How I really survived all these years was always going to see the guidance counselor. In 3rd grade, I found out what that person did. And I was like, so I could just go see that person? It was like, yeah. Every school I went to, I always saw the guidance counselor. Whenever things didn't make sense, I felt like I had to get things off my chest, I always went to see the guidance counselor. In high school, boarding school, she got a nice office, nice little comfy. Miss Adler. I always went to go see Miss Adler. I remember, if I saw her in college, I remember her name, but I always went to see her. Even leading up to my dad, when he passed, I would always just pop in and say what up, talk to her, chop it up, email her. Hey, yo, do you have 30 minutes today? You know, I sought the help. It's okay to ask for help. And I feel like that's things that we have to normalize. Yeah, you know, people of my stature or any stature, like it's okay to ask for help, especially as Black men. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I always did. I always just sought the help. Like, oh, that's that person's job to sit there and listen to you, give you advice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see her or him.
People don't know the power of talking, right? Just like talking sometimes. And you know, I always hear like, I had an episode too where I had an all men's podcast and we spoke about mental health and stuff. And none of them that came actually ever went to therapy, really.
Right.
And it was, you know, people I grew up with that was in gangs and or doing, you know, grew up in Harlem, in the Bronx, all types of trauma they've been through. And that was how I came up with the idea for them to come talk. So I found that like, especially with our community, Black men specifically, it's so much harder for them to talk about things. Right. And I always try to figure out like why, because no one typically checks in on you, right? Like, how are you feeling today? How are you doing? You know? So just to hear you say like, and that message getting out there that it's, you know, like it's changed your life is dope. So I do want to shout that out.
Definitely changed my life, and it kept me sane. You know, I saw a lot of things. First time I got jumped, I was 8.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he put a knife to my neck. I was 8 years old. You know,
this is crazy.
Facts. You know, and it was a crazy experience. I was with my little brother. He's 4 years old. There's nothing. We was helpless. We was like, in that moment, I said, yo, it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah. My brother started hysterically crying and let us go. Shout out to my little brother, man. I love you, bro. I know we don't talk, but I love you, bro. Yeah. And he started crying and let us go. But there's nothing I could do in that situation. I was 8. Them niggas was like 13, 14. They tried to rob us.
So hearing like all of these stories and all these things right now and seeing where you are now and where you're going to continue to grow, right? Like what is a message that you would say looking back at young Zo? What is the message you have?
Stay on the sidewalks, bro. Like the sidewalks, things are going to get spooky on the sidewalks, but you're going to be safer. You know what I'm saying? Continue to work hard at baseball too, bro. You was nice and you got nice and you kind of stopped working, but you got to where you got to get, but take more opportunities. Like I had letters from like Clemson, UConn, Stanford, like to
you
go to.
You played overseas.
Yeah, I played overseas. So I had I should have took the opportunities to go to those camps because that would have put me like I would have been at the ACC camp, SEC, Pac-12, all of that. So had I told my parents and not been so worried about the money, like yo, listen, I want to go to this camp. Like, can you take me or somebody go with me or whatever it is? Or maybe I could set it up. But, you know, that was just the fear of the money. You feel me? Like, so I didn't do it. But I would say, yo, bro, take those opportunities. But outside of that, bro, you're doing the right thing. Stay out the way. Stay respectful. You know what I'm saying? And just be the loving, kind-hearted kid that you are and be selective. You know, that's the main thing. You love everybody, but be selective.
Yeah. And be proud of you now. You
be proud of you.
It's
now,
already written, so you were meant to be here where you are right now. And you're doing a lot of work on your own. Right. So, you know,
thank you.
It's dope. And you should be proud of young Zo. Should be proud of Big Zo.
Young Zo, you did it, nigga. Like, you still that nigga, yo.
Still that guy from the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx.
Shout out to the Bronx. Love the Bronx. You know, you pouring into the Bronx. Look at everything you're doing for the Bronx. And the Bronx.
Who's your favorite artist in the Bronx right now? Random question.
My favorite artist from the Bronx right now? Oh, Dice Peso. That's my guy. That's my favorite artist right now. I was in his video South Bronx. It's unreleased with Fat Joe. That was pretty cool. You know, Dice is making a lot of noise. But shout out to my guy Sal Money. You know what I'm saying? He's making a lot of noise right now. And you know, the Bronx is lit right now. You know, we got to interview Ice Spice. Both of us.
I know. I be trying to manifest myself.
You know what I'm saying? I met Ice Spice before Munch.
Yes.
I fucked that pack up. I'm gonna tell you the story right now. I fucked that pack up. Shout out to my guy 303 Saints. We was out in Boston. If you actually look. Hold on, real fast. If you look, I'm gonna show you right here, right now, right here. Oh, look. You see, you're gonna see her.
Oh, wow.
That's before Munch.
Yeah.
Right? That's May 29th. Munch came out that summer.
Oh, right? Wow.
So I told her about conversation.
Damn, you fucked that pack. You fucked that pack.
You know why? Because I was around all the little niggas. So I just went off the give me a gram thing. Yeah. I didn't take her number. I didn't do that. So I was just with the young. I think I was 29 when I was there. So I just flowing with the Instagram. We spoke on the gram a couple times, but boom, Munch came out, gone. But I met her.
It's okay.
2 months. Yeah,
it's okay. We gonna spin back.
That's what I mean.
And then you can tell that story on the vibe.
Like, look at you. You get your rep throwing on like your 4 zone. You know what I mean? Like, I was there. You know, a lot of kids knew who she was. You know what I'm saying? She did her little dance and all of that.
Yeah.
I didn't fan out because I didn't know who she was, but I was too caught up being around the youngins.
Yeah.
Like that's how they move via Instagram
Yeah.
and DM and not phone numbers. So I should have got her number that day. But it's fun because now we're gonna have an even better interview.
Yeah, and you can bring that up.
Yeah,
and
we're
say,
gonna bring
you know,
that up. But yeah, I met Ice. Yeah, so she got
she got it right now. She got the
it
radio
right now.
on spin and all of that.
Mhm, all that.
I love anybody from the Bronx. So
Facts.
Cardi, Ice Spice, even Scarlett. I know she's coming
Yeah.
up
Shout out
now
to
too,
Scarlett, my son Sound Money BX, my son
Mhm.
Dice. You know, everybody making noise. You know, anybody I forgot, you know, I love you. You know, shout out to my guy P, J Quest.
Mhm.
You know, everybody on Cortland. You know, my B Love, all of them. Shy K, making noise.
This is for the love of the Bronx. We
Right, for
did
the love of
that,
the
so,
Bronx.
I would love to always have you back here. You
Of
know
course,
that.
of
I'm
course.
so excited that you came. I'm very
Thank you.
honored. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your words, motivation, everything, you know, that you do on the sidelines is appreciated and it's dope.
Appreciate it.
Until next time, and I can't wait until we see, who is it, Chris Breezy? Hopefully this beats Chris Breezy,
Breezy,
and he
yeah.
make it on your pod.
Yeah, listen, you're gonna have the best interview ever. You know, so
Ever.
we're gonna talk about
That's gonna be
early
gonna be
records. You know, everything I experienced.
Chris Brown. I was not expecting an answer from
That's
you.
my guy right there. That's my guy.
But you know, like, comment, subscribe, and we're gonna share this
Yeah, definitely like,
conversations
comment,
with Zoe.
subscribe, support the sis. You know, doing beautiful things.
Thank you.
Small talk, but we talk heavy. You heard?
Okay, I love that. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
that. So,
That's
so
yours.
we talk
That's
heavy. Okay. These bitches could
Yeah. That's small talk energy. Oh, that's small talk energy. Oh,